Hello. Uh, I said I was gonna make a video about this. Well, I am going to. As you can hear, I sound very, very sick, which I am. Well, this nose is probably just from a cold, but yeah, the stuffed nose is probably from a cold, but the rest I would say is just me being sick. I don't know how to describe it. I promised to make a video, well, I didn't promise, but I said I would make a video about this, explaining what is going on. And I didn't know when I was gonna do it. I thought because I didn't want to start out all emotional or all depressing, but in the end, this is my channel, and I'm really doing this for myself, as I said in the introduction, and I'm doing it to vent and to tell what I'm feeling. I'm using this as a therapy for myself. And tomorrow, I'm already going back to my neurologist, and might get hospitalized. I hope I get hospitalized, and it's a very sad thing to say and a depressing thing to say, but I genuinely hope I get hospitalized, and I will explain that later on. But right now I'm going to do a backstory of how I got to this situation right now, how I got to be how I am feeling this very moment. So it started out about a year ago. No, more than a year ago. I think like a year and a quarter or something. I don't know. It started about a year ago. A little bit more than a year ago, actually. And I was in a hospital for my depression. Got hospitalized for 2 weeks, and for that. And when I was doing my therapy, and when they asked me questions and how I was feeling physically and all that stuff, I just answered normally. I answered what I needed to answer, and I heard from, because I wasn't hospitalized, I wasn't isolated, or anything like that. I was in a group of people who were hospitalized also for 2 weeks, just like me. And basically, I had heard from them that they got headaches just like me. And I was like, whoa, I also have headaches. And I heard that they had gotten medication for it because it got so bad. I was like, well, it's not that bad, but I do get headaches. And that's when I started to realize it. I maybe thought that it was because of the medication, because back then I took sleeping pills. Well, there were pills that would make you drowsy and then would put you to sleep, but were also used as antidepressants in higher doses, but I only took lower doses, so I didn't take it as an antidepressant. I took it as a sleeping medication, which worked, but it had a lot of side effects to it, and I thought that was one of the side effects. And so, I didn't really take it into consideration that it was something more. I really just thought it was depression or just me having a headache like anyone else. And basically, I only started to realize that it was maybe something else almost exactly a year ago, when I was on holidays. Wow, I really need to work on my grammar. When I was on holidays to Fuerteventura, when I was on holidays to the Canary Islands, and I had headaches all the time. And I just thought, okay, maybe it's just because of the temperature, maybe because of the sun, because I didn't wear much of like hats or sunglasses or anything like that, but it was really sunny. And my dad used to get headaches as a teenager because of the sun, and because he lived in warm places like Brazil and all that stuff. So he got many headaches as a teenager or as a child. And so I just assumed it was that, and I got that from him, And so I kind of like brushed it off. Then when school started again, around November, I would say maybe December, I really started to take it into consideration that I wasn't just something normal because it really started to get worse. So when I say back in the hospital that it wasn't any problem, I mean like it was maybe once a week, or it was time to time, maybe 5 minutes headache, and it was just kind of like, ow, 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 and it was gone, you know? So nothing special, right? But by the time November came, it was already more regular. It was regularly, let's say a few times a week, and it started becoming longer periods of pain, and it was, it started to, how do you say that? It started to get worse. And from then on, let's say, maybe not specifically November or December, from January on, especially from February on, it really started to get worse really quickly. So I don't remember much from January, because my memory is kind of blurry. Because of depression, I often get blurry memories, and I don't really remember structure or what happened first and when, and that's me personally. But I don't remember much from January, but I remember that I was realizing that it was something wrong back in February, because I was on holidays in Egypt and I was sick, and my headaches were gotten so bad because I was sick, because of all the fevers, and I didn't go to a doctor because I didn't really trust it there. I don't know. It's not because it's Egypt itself, but I just don't like going to places I don't know. Like, on vacation, yes. But I mean, I don't like going to stranger doctors, because the last time I did, I had a really bad experience, and I didn't like it. So it has nothing to do with Egypt. It's just me that doesn't like doctors from other countries, because I don't know how they do those things, and I don't know how seriously they will take me and all that stuff. So I was just in bed all week in Egypt while my parents had fun. I was just sick. And then when I got better, I realized that my headaches hadn't gone away, even when I was already like not sick anymore. And from then on, it really got bad quickly. It went from a couple times a week to almost every day, or every 2 days. But like every 2 days, I mean really long periods, like multiple hours of just headaches. And then it continued until March, and that was, let's say, end March. It was already every day. It was every day. Of course, I had moments where I didn't have it, but like it was almost every single day. It was all the time, but all the time, I mean, it was there, and then 1 hour break, and then there, and then 1 hour break. So it's like back and forth. And then by end of April, I would say it was every day, though, there the whole time. There was no more breaks. Let's say, end of April, I think I'm correct. It was there the whole time. And then my other symptoms, which I haven't mentioned so far, then my other symptoms also increased and became more of a severe problem, which other symptoms which I haven't mentioned so far, which I'm going to get to in a second. Well, back in end of April, other symptoms would mean nausea, but severe nausea. No vomiting, but just severe nausea. And severe nausea and dizziness, like a lot of dizziness, to the point where I just thought I was gonna faint. And that started let's say May, June. I would go in the period of May, June. A lot of things escalated, and so my nausea got to the point, I think like end June, it got so bad, like I couldn't eat because everything I saw made me want to vomit. And if I did eat, about like an hour later, I would be at the toilet trying to vomit, but it's already too late because my food had already gone down, so I can't throw up. Or like I wouldn't eat at all day, and I would be at the toilet trying to throw up, but my stomach is empty, so I can't throw up. Or I throw up like, stomach juices or anything, like it was not good. And dizziness to the point I was almost gonna faint. So I called my dad a couple times at school. He came to pick me up. Went to doctors. The first doctor I went to was back in end of March, around April. I went to a doctor and neurologist. Well, I went to many times to my GP, but I went to a neurologist, and he didn't see that it was a big concern. He did an MRI. The MRI came out, well, in his opinion, and so far he is the only one who has seen the MRI. In his opinion, it's a normal scan. But when I read the report, because I got the report back from my GP, from the radiologist, they have seen that there were a few white spots, a few white particles, a few on my left and on my right. I think there was more on my left than my right. Yeah, he didn't see, there were white particles, but he didn't see that as a problem, and it's quite normal where radiologists give their opinion, but the neurologists don't really see that as a problem. That's apparently normal because, you know, you're not aware of the patient's conditions and their symptoms, so maybe they match, maybe they don't, kind of thing. But I did always remember it, and I wanted a second opinion because he didn't really take me seriously at all. He gave me 3 different diagnoses, every single week a different diagnosis. First he came up with chronic headaches, then he told me it was migraine, and then he was saying basically it was between migraine and tension type headaches, like a mix of it, like some kind of mix. I don't know what the name was exactly, but it was a mix of the two. And he gave me 2 medications, one that made my depression worse because it was you can also use it as an antidepressant in higher doses, and anything that has to do with antidepressants, anything that has a connection with antidepressants makes my depression way worse. I became super suicidal and I didn't like it. I stopped it right there. I was a zombie. I didn't think straight. I don't like it. I stopped. Then he gave me another type of medication that has nothing to do with depression, but yeah, I just tried it and it made my headaches like a different pattern. Not that I have a pattern, that's the thing. I don't have a pattern, but like it made it a complete different thing. I don't know, it was different, it was weird, I didn't like it, I stopped it. Then I went back to my GP a few times with the dizziness and the nausea, trying to come up with a conclusion of what it might be. She sent me to an ear, nose, and throat doctor, and he decided she wanted him to check my ears and my nose. But I didn't have a nose problem. It's just right now because I have a little cold, that's it. But he checked mostly my ears. My ears were completely fine. There was no sign of any kind of problems, of hearing problems, no kind of diseases or anything to do. My balance was fine. It was really nothing that could explain anything. Everything was fine. Then I go to a second neurologist that is more nearby. And the one in the same hospital where I was born, it's a hospital that I trust, because the other one was in a hospital I've never been to, so that's why I kind of didn't trust him. But I went to this hospital with this lady, this doctor, and because I live in Belgium, and in Belgium we speak French, Dutch, a little bit of German, and English as well, but the 2 main languages are French and Dutch. And the thing is, our country is divided into the Flemish, which is the Dutch side, and Wallonia, which is the French side. And people kind of don't really like each other there. It's kind of I don't know, I can't explain it. And then Brussels, you have the capital of Belgium and the capital of Europe, which is basically a mix of French and Dutch, but let's say the majority will speak French there. But so my hospital is located in Brussels, really near Brussels, something like that. I think it's in Brussels though, but I might be wrong. And so it's in Brussels. So most people there are French-speaking people, but they're normally obliged to speak both languages, especially when you have a job where you have to speak to people. Well, this lady doesn't speak English, nor did she speak Dutch, and I am fluent in English and Dutch and not that great in French. So that's why that was kind of a problem. I was there with my mother, and my father normally speaks French pretty well, but my mother doesn't speak as good as I do. My mother doesn't speak as good as my dad does, and so we were both trying to formulate sentences and trying to explain to the doctor, but she didn't really understand fully. So, and all my documents were in Dutch, and she can't read Dutch, or she doesn't understand Dutch properly. So I had to translate everything, but I'm not that great in French either. So she did a few tests, and she just said, "Come back in October," and I went to her like in May, and my symptoms were already progressing. My headaches were already there every single day, every single moment, 24/7, and that can't get worse. Yes, it can. It just becomes more painful. And that was happening back then. I was like, okay, no, she has to take me seriously. But I'm too shy, I guess, to say those kind of things. So we just went to a different doctor that we could get right away, which was in Leuven, which was the same place as the first hospital, but now it's a different hospital where I was hospitalized for my depression in Leuven, which is a city in the Dutch side. And we went there, and he didn't take me seriously at all. But let me remind you that by then, my whole body is already in pain. So that means my whole body is already aching. I had no cold back then. Right now, I just have a small cold, but even without the cold, my whole body is aching. Like, I will get to it in a second, but back then, there was no stabbing, so it was just my body that was completely, it felt like it was run down, but I didn't have any symptoms of a cold, any symptoms of the flu, any kind of explanation that could have happened. I had a small temperature rise in my body, but I didn't have full fever, just 1 degree more than normally. That wouldn't go away with any kind of medication, and no painkillers worked against the headaches and all that stuff, but never worked. And also didn't put my fever away. Anti-fever medicine, whatever, it didn't take my fever down or anything like that. Well, fever, higher body temperature, that's all. And then I went to him. He didn't take me seriously at all. He just listened, noted a few things down. He did a couple tests, and then he was just like, "Yeah, there's really nothing wrong with you." It's like, the fuck? Yes, there is. And I was mad. I'm normally not mad. I'm a calm person. I was mad. Let me tell you. I did not like the way he spoke about it. He just said, "Yeah, you see, it's tension time." I was already 100% sure it's not tension time, because I had changed between, so I had done 2 trimesters of school in a school where I had a lot of stress, and then the last trimester, so in April, I changed to another school where I had no stress at all, and that has cleared my anxiety completely. I do not suffer from anxiety, or barely suffer from any anxiety anymore. I mean, everyone suffers a little bit of anxiety, but like that's more like good stress. But I suffer, like, you don't understand how much my anxiety has improved. That school has brought me through hell, and that was gone. So I had no stress at all. I nailed my exams. When in the other school I had like 6 fails. I was gonna have to redo my year if I continued to be there. Here I passed so well. Unexpectedly well. Of course, I didn't have A's all over the place, but going from 6 F's, I don't know, I normally have like percentages, but I had 6 fails. I went to having multiple A's, multiple B's, and like only 1 fail, which was the time that I hadn't eaten all day and I was crying on the floor and I couldn't study for history, and that's why I got an F on history exam. But in the daily work, I like my daily evaluation, I didn't have a fail. That means I obviously understand history, but just I couldn't study for it because the pain in my body was unbearable. But I had passed, so that just proves how much my anxiety and my stress and my school and my understanding and my concentration has improved. And after that, I was 100% sure it was attention type. And he said, no stress? Well, it's attention type, but you're depression. And I don't know, I have this thing where I, like, last year, I accepted it that it was from my depression when I feel like it's from my depression. But now I know it's not from my depression because it has all these symptoms that just don't make sense. And I was just sure it was not from my depression. And how, like, I asked him, are you sure? He's like, yes. He acted like he knew what I was saying. And I have respect for doctors. Like, I even would like to become a doctor one day. But he was not listening to me. I kept asking, are you actually sure? And I kept saying, it's not possible because this and this and that. My depression, since like a few weeks, has actually improved. Well, not fully, it's not gone. It's definitely not gone, but it has improved a lot. The fact is that also this pain has effect on my depression. So without this pain, I would say it's the happiest I've been in 2 years. But with the pain, it affects my depression, and that's why I can't really get out of it. Because, when you're in pain 24/7, it's kind of hard to always stay optimistic. So that has an effect on my depression. But I am sure, 100% sure it has nothing to do with my depression or my anxiety, because my anxiety was going up, and my headaches were going this way up, so even higher up, yeah? Then I changed schools, and my depression, my anxiety goes like this, and my headaches keep going like this. Doesn't make sense, right? Then my depression was like going up, no headaches. Now that just stayed on this one level, right? Like really high, but like stayed on one level. And then this is where my headaches came in. And then my depression has been going down, but my headaches keep... It's no sense. I'm sure. I even went to my psychiatrist, and I asked her, and I explained everything, because it was just a checkup. It was like only a few weeks ago. And I asked her, look, this and this and this and this and this. What is it? And she's like, I have no idea what it is, but I am sure that it has nothing to do with your depression or anxiety. She even said it. And that dude... doctor, I have respect for doctors and their work, but not when they take things that are just not in their usual thing, because there's no obvious test or thing that they can do that really proves, like, all the tests I've been doing, like body checkups, anything they can do, like blood tests and blood pressure and all these things they have been doing, and everything came out normal, so they have no explanation for what it is, so they just take the easiest explanation, and that's what I hate. And especially when they take your mental health and they mix it up with your physical health. And yes, a lot of people do get headaches from depression, but when I tell him that I am sure it has nothing to do with my depression, he still tells me I know what I'm doing. I am mad. I am mad. Mad. Because mad. Frustrated. I'm so frustrated. It's the 4th diagnosis I get. And the worst part, it has been proven wrong. So that's 4 wrong diagnoses. 4 wrong diagnoses. That's all I'm gonna say. And then, that same doctor, I asked him to look at my scan and tell me, okay, so if it's tension type, what are those white particles? What do they mean? It's like, see, the scan comes from another hospital. I don't have it in my data. I can't look at it. But I am sure that it has nothing to do with your headaches. And it might very well be. Trust me, I didn't take a look at that scan. I am no doctor. I didn't study for I don't know how many years. I will not blame him. But at least take a look. and he can't find it. So he was like going on his computer for 10 minutes. I don't know what he was doing these 10 minutes, probably ordering pizza or something like that. But he goes on his computer and he's like, yeah, I can't find it, but I am sure it has absolutely nothing to do with your headaches. He hasn't even seen the scan. He hasn't seen the scan, yet he makes a conclusion it has nothing to do with my headaches. I haven't seen my scan, and I'm not saying it has something to do with my headaches, but I'm also not saying it has nothing to do with my headaches, because it could very well be. Now, my symptoms, right now, I'm in the worst states ever because my back hurts, my legs hurt, my arm hurts, my head is in absolute pain. Pain, I am telling you. It's the worst pain I've ever had in my life, and this started before yesterday. I don't know. I'm in the state where I want to cry, but I can't cry because my head will hurt more, and I don't know what to do. I am venting already for almost 30 minutes. I really don't know what to do. Tomorrow I'm going to the neurologist. That was a French-speaking one, and I went to the ER, and they didn't know what to do, but it was the same ER from that hospital that is in Brussels, and they were just like, you know what, come back. We'll make an appointment instead of October next week, because I went last week, and that's it. I'm going tomorrow. I'm gonna ask to get hospitalized because no painkiller works anymore. Can they just put me on morphine or something? I don't know. I don't even know. I don't even care if they can't give me a right diagnosis right away. Just take me out of this pain. Just please. That's all I'm asking. And if anybody has any kind of idea what's wrong with me, please let me know. I've tried everything. I've tried everything. I even went to an eye doctor today. He checked my eyes. Everything is normal. I'm gonna do a real blood test on August somewhere for allergies, and normally also for checking if everything is okay with my blood, if there's enough supplements. I've been taking vitamin B for now. Hasn't shown any kind of effect. That's a special type of vitamin B. I don't remember the name exactly. I am absolutely tired. Can't eat normally. Can't sleep normally. 24/7 pain. I feel like my body's shutting down because more and more body parts start hurting. I don't know. Nothing else to say. Sorry for this emotional video, but I really needed to get that out there. That's it. Thank you for listening to my friends. Thank you for listening to this video. Thank you for made it this far. Let me know if you know something. That's really all I have to say. Tell me if I'm wrong somewhere along the lines that I'm saying. Maybe I'm just really in too much pain to actually think straight. Maybe it's just me. That's really that's all I have to say. Sorry for this long video. Thank you for watching.